What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Last time, we saw 16-year-old Temüjin emerge from the 7 brutal winters on Berkhan Khaldun, his spirit forged by the sky and the earth. He was finally ready to face his fate. But before he could confront the enemies who abandoned him, an internal family conflict would force him to change his destiny with his own hands. Today, we dive into the dark feud between Temüjin and his half-brother, Bekhter. Temüjin was still just a teenager, but in his family camp, he had a rival, Bekhter, the eldest son of his father Yesugei's first wife, Sochigel. Bekhter was 2 or 3 years older. In a time of constant starvation, that slight age and strength advantage meant he had major seniority and influence. The conflict started over something tiny. Bekhter stole a small fish that Temüjin had struggled to catch. Furious and feeling slighted, Temüjin ran to his mother, Hoelun, to complain. But to his shock, his mother actually sided with Bekhter. She told him, "No one outside of our family is going to help you, so stop arguing with your own brother." This goes back to harsh Steppe custom. If a dead husband's brothers refuse to take the widow, the son of the other wife might have to take on the responsibility of levirate marriage, no matter how young. Some historians speculate that Bekhter may have intended to marry Hoelun one day, which is why she favored her stepson over her own child. His mother's rebuke stoked the fire inside Temüjin, making him moody and unstable like damp wood ready to ignite. Finally, Temüjin made a chilling decision. He would kill Bekhter. Once the thought entered his head, there was no turning back. He grabbed his younger full brother, Kasar, and the two of them found Bekhter on a small hill, trapping him between them. Together, they drew their bows and fired. They shot and killed Bekhter. This was the very first person to die by the hands of the future Genghiskhan, and it was his own half-brother. When Hoelun heard the news, she absolutely exploded. She screamed at Temüjin, pointing her finger at his face. But no amount of tears or shouting could move him. Temüjin was silent, rigid as a stone. Seeing this violence, the younger siblings were terrified. They finally understood the full, chilling consequence of crossing Temüjin. This shocking act, while demonstrating his ruthlessness, came at a price. It alerted his enemies. Tayichiud, the chief of the Tayichiud tribe who had abandoned the family and who had actually saved Temüjin once before, now saw him as a clear threat. Fearing the young man's potential, Tayichiud immediately ordered his men to capture Temüjin. Hearing the news, Temüjin quickly fled back into the forest of Berkhan Khaldun. He hid there for days, exhausted and starving. Thinking his pursuers had given up, he tried to crawl out of his hiding ravine. But a large white stone suddenly rolled down and blocked his exit. When he tried to move the stone, he was immediately tangled in bushes and branches. Temüjin felt like heaven was trying to stop him, but he refused to accept his fate. He starved in that forest for 9 days without food or water until he finally had a thought. To die here, nameless and alone, is not worth it. I must go out and fight. He had nothing but a small, sharpened knife. With that knife, he painstakingly cut away the blocking branches until he carved out a path. But the moment he emerged, the Tayichiud soldiers were waiting for him. He was captured. Temüjin was thrown into slavery. Despite the beatings and humiliation he endured, clinging to one thought: survive, escape, and I must succeed. Finally, his chance came. One night, his captors drank themselves into a stupor. Temüjin took his wooden collar, or cangue, and smashed it down on the unsuspecting guard, knocking him out cold. He ran as fast as he could. Still wearing the heavy wooden stock, he plunged into the icy river to hide, waiting until the soldiers gave up their search before slipping quietly ashore. A family he had known from the steppe secretly helped him remove the wooden yoke, and only then was he truly free of the Tayichiud. Temüjin didn't waste a second. He rushed home, gathered his family, and they fled once more into Berkhan Khaldun, the only sacred mountain that could still offer them temporary safety. Guys, this is a gut punch of an episode. On one hand, you're sickened by the murder of his own brother. On the other, you have to respect the sheer willpower of a man who never ever gives up in the face of utter despair. But can Temüjin and his family stay safe hiding in Berkhan Khaldun forever? What is his next move after escaping the clutches of his enemies? We'll find out next time.